So today let's talk about the best way to make decisions. It's not, or maybe we should talk about the way not to make decisions. And this is after some reflections I've been having this week about a decision I got really stuck on. Talked about this in another video, which you can probably find around here somewhere, wherever you are. I really noticed around this decision as a business decision. Somebody was inviting me to participate in something, and at first I felt very excited, and then I got caught up in a lot of thinking. And I see now that some of that thinking was fearful, really fearful around. Well, it went all over the place, and I guess that's the most important thing about this, is the best way to make decisions is not when your head's all over the place. There was a lot of fear around making the wrong decision, and I wonder really if that's possible. But first of all, how does fear then show up in your body? When you feel fearful around a decision, it feels like you could make the wrong decision. How does that show up? Well, that shows up in your body as urgency, pressure, overthinking. You'll know what that feels like. This sense of, what if I mess this up? What if I can get this wrong? But maybe you've noticed, I've noticed this, I think, that as you move through life, do you ever really get it wrong? In the long term, I mean, in the short term, things can really look like a bad move, can't they? But in the long term, can you really get it wrong? Because a decision that we make, either it moves us in a direction that's helpful, or it moves us in a direction that's not so helpful, but then there's a detour, isn't there? We can get back. Not get back, but we can move just on our path. I mean, no human path is a straight line. Every human path it's a zigzag. It bounces around. I often think like us poor humans are like pinballs in a pinball machine, aren't we? We just get flicked around all over the place. And, no matter what decision we make, it brings something. If I think about all the really quite poor decisions I made in the run up to burnout, there were many, let me tell you. We could do a nice 2-hour video about the appalling decisions I made for my health and well-being and everything else on the way to burnout. But we won't do that because you'll all fall asleep. But what if none of those decisions were actually wrong? Because I ended up here. And I feel a little bit emotional now because I ended up here talking about decision making to you, and sharing my thoughts on it, and sharing my thoughts on lots of other things from this inside out 3 principles perspective. Every path we go on brings something. It could be learning, it could be clarity, it could be just a whole new direction in our lives, because that's what happened to me post burnout. My life considerably changed. I went on a very different path. Our inner critic loves this decision-making stress, I suppose, that it's grounded in whether we're making a decision morally, or when that really came up for me, has come up massively for me about this decision, this business decision I've been thinking about. Is it morally the right decision? Is it aligned with my with my beliefs? I've been really caught up in it. Really, things are just options, aren't they? And it's not the thing that we're deciding. It's all the meaning making that goes on around it. The sense it could be right or wrong, the sense that we could be judged for it. I mean, that's a big one, isn't it? Oh, don't make the wrong decision, because if you get it wrong, you look really stupid and everybody's going to think you're an idiot. Mostly, by the way, that's just your own head that likes to tell you you're going to be seen as an idiot, or that you're an idiot. So I spoke about this a bit in the previous video, but what is the best way to make decisions then? Well, it's by just being with the feeling. And, I've noticed over the past few days where I've been all over the place with this decision and what am I doing about it, that when I pause and breathe and just bring myself gently back into my body, I notice how off the feeling is, how stirred up I am. That stirred upness is not the guidance. It can really seem like it, like the feeling of urgency makes it look like the decision has to be made now. We think, if I think, particularly, my lovely high achieving intellectual clients, that there's often this sense that, well, I've got to work it out. That's my job. It's my job to find a solution. It's my job to work it out. That brings about a feeling of, I nearly said horror, a feeling of horror. No, just a horrible feeling in the body. And then we know that we're not ready. And the great thing about that is that if you're not ready, you probably, well, first of all, you don't need to be ready to make a decision. But also, time is so powerful with decision making, in that if you wait, you can fall away from the duality of decisions. So for me at the moment, in this decision I'm supposed to be making, but I'm choosing not to right now, because that's the best way to make a decision for me right now, is to not make one. It's A or B. It seems to me there is this duality. There's decision A I could make, and there's decision B I could make. And I, at the moment, to me, it looks like I've got to choose one of those options. And I think that often decisions look very dual, don't they? They look like it's a this or a that. And we go back and forth between the two. But have you noticed that sometimes when you put that decision down and you just move on with your day and you kind of just go, do you know what? I've realised I'm not in the best place to make a decision. I'm going to just put it down over here and I'm going to get on with my day. And have you noticed what happens? Often one of those options just disappears. It gets withdrawn in some way, or it ceases to exist, or it for some reason it's just not there, or both of those options disappear and then just neither of them are applicable. And sometimes what happens, which is even more amazing, I think, is that option C, we thought it was A or B, A or B, or A or B, we're going backwards and forwards. Then option C comes through, and that's something completely different. And you go, oh, I see now why I'm choosing between A and B wasn't really a thing. Now option C has come through, or option D, E, F, etc., Z, whatever. And that is clearly the right next step. And when that appears, you just know, don't you? It's almost like you've put down, I'm going to make a decision about this. You've allowed the mind to settle. While your mind is settled, it's almost like as you're settling, the universe is sort of settling as well. And then through comes the knowing. You just suddenly know then, and it's okay, and it all just turns out right. The thing is, there's something there about ignoring, or just not ignoring, but realizing that the feeling of pressure, the feeling of urgency, all that from the overthinking is letting us know that we are not in a very good state of mind, and therefore sitting and you don't have to sit and do nothing. You just get on with something else in your life. You don't have to make a decision. Don't make decisions from that place. Just, can you sit with the uncertainty? Can you just allow yourself to not know? Now, that's a challenge, I realise, because I'm a control freak too. And I often say I should start a group called Control Freaks Anonymous. I was chatting to a lady about this the other day, and she said, "Yeah, I'll join," because we were comparing notes on how controlling we can be, and that's me. I'm like, oh gosh, I need to be feel like I need to be on everything all the time, you know. But knowing from this perspective, from this three principles inside out perspective, that always when I've got that sense of urgency, it's just letting me know I'm just caught up in urgent thinking, and urgent thinking is not really the best place to make decisions. And finally, just being very aware of where your thinking is in time. So our mind loves to do this, doesn't it? Like go back and forth in time. I'm guessing for you that's back, isn't it? I don't know. That's forward. I'm trying to work it out in the mirror image, but you're just be aware of the non-present thinking, the what ifs, the imagined outcomes, the sense that you could get this wrong. I think maybe the best way to make decisions is to know that you can't get this wrong. And the more you just tune in, there's something about seeing how decisions kind of make themselves. I think when I look back at my journey over the last few years, since the burnout in 2015, 10 years, over 10 years now, so many of the really wonderful things that have happened have just appeared, fallen into place, and I've not really felt like I've been making a decision. I've just kind of gone with the surrender. I love that book, The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. Great book. I've just kind of gone with what's been presented to me, and picked it up and moved with it. And so, maybe the best way to make decisions is to see that that's not really our job so much. And just see, as you give yourself that bit of space and time, what can actually emerge is really, really powerful. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that's helping you to maybe not make a decision, just put it down. Just put it down for now. Let it go for now, and realize that it will probably decide itself magically. Take care. Lots of love. Bye.